You want me to try doing your phone?
Here. Yeah, I'm not sure why we're not seeing. Guess we'll have to use
Oh, wait.
now.
Wait, I think I see it now. There we go.
All right.
Cool, man. I'm excited that we got on here. So
yeah. Finally, after all these times, I was beginning to think it wasn't going to happen.
So tell me what's been going on. What's new?
Well, I just bought another property. Got put it under contract, and actually the guy wanted to use a regular contract. So he ended up taking it to his attorney, and I guess his attorney's the one that suggested we use a regular contract. So I got to go sign that tomorrow.
Okay.
So I just want to take a look at that before I sign it, make sure there's nothing out of the ordinary in it. He said he kept everything the same as what we had it with Sean's contract. But hopefully that we'll get that thing sold. I had to cancel. Well, we canceled 2 agreements so far. We canceled the agreement with Andrew that we were working up in Scranton area.
Yep. And
then I had one myself that I got a little too deep in, used some of the wrong comps, and had to cancel that.
Hey, it happens to the best of us, you know.
Yeah, that was a bummer and stuff. And yeah, what I found is with the kids out of school, it's a little harder to keep focused.
Yeah. Well, cool. Thanks for jumping on here. What we'll do is I'm gonna do like a little interview with you.
Sure.
A little bit about your background and like what got you started, and then like how you're doing on deals, and maybe a couple of your success stories, and then how things are changing for you.
Okay. All right.
All right. Well, Brandon Simmons here. I'm with Terry Hynicker, and Terry, why don't you give us a little bit about your background and how you got involved with wholesaling?
Well, I'm a paramedic here in the state of Pennsylvania. I've been doing that for a very long time, basically since I was 16. Real estate has always intrigued me, and I even as far back as some people might know the name Carlton Sheets. I bought his programs way back when.
Yep.
And just never really did anything. And then I got married in 19 years ago. My wife didn't want me to do anything in real estate, and I just always been intrigued with real estate, and actually decided I was going to do something. Took the first check challenge, and actually did it without her knowing. Maybe I shouldn't say that.
So tell us about this, if I remember right. When you enrolled in the first check challenge, you were on a lot of the group coaching calls. I think when your kids.
My son was at basketball practice, and I'd send him into basketball practice, and I'd stand in the hallway at the school on my phone for the coaching call, and then and then go home basically afterwards. But one of the things that being a paramedic I was able to do was, while everybody was out either home or out working or were at school, I was able to do some things at home to get the business up and running.
So it's the side hustle.
It was a side hustle, yes.
And no, you didn't tell your wife about it at first.
I didn't. And
now though,
right? What's that?
She knows about it now, right?
She knows about it now, yeah. She's actually even supporting me. But the funniest part is, like I said, she never wanted me to do real estate or anything in real estate. She always thought it was taboo and that we didn't have the money. So I actually signed my first agreement. I purchased my first property February 1st. Mm-hmm. And I put it out all over Facebook and stuff. And actually, I put it on Craigslist, and that's where she seen the ad. And then she went ballistic on me. And that was on February 8th. And on the 10th, I had an agreement to sell the property and made $8,000 on the property. And I don't think she believed me till I showed her the check for $8,000. So that was
whenever you now I refer to that first check sometimes as the shut up check.
right. Yep. Yep.
Whenever you showed her the $8,000 check, what happened?
Yeah. Well, I don't think she still thought I could do it again. I think she thought this was some kind of a fluke. My second check was for over $17,000.
Wow, 8,000 on the first one, 17,000 on the second one.
Yep. And then my last one was 85 or something like that.
85. Wow. So in a couple short months, you've done, what is that? Over 30.
About 35. About 34.
Yeah, 34,000. Yeah, you're right. 35,000. So
yeah.
What does she think now?
Oh, she's even helping me find deals now, and we're even talking about buying a house down in Delaware at the beach. So, we live in Pennsylvania, so it's a 3-hour drive for us to get down to Bethany is where we want to be looking to buy. But we're hoping to get another deal or two, and that's what we're hoping to do.
That's awesome. Now, it's scary doing something new like this, right? It's unproven.
When I first did my first property, I think you had thrown in like a bonus call or two, and we even went over it in the coaching call, I think, if I remember right. And I was scared shitless that I was going to buy a buyer or find a buyer or not. And you had helped me a little bit. You gave me some leads during that coaching call. You emailed them to me, and I went through some of them. And actually, I even sat down and pulled everybody off of Craigslist that said, "We buy houses." I went and contacted every one of them that I could find on Craigslist to see if I could find a buyer for this property. And finally, there's a group in the county here that basically, after I talked with them and stuff, I found out that they're doing the same thing I'm doing, just at a different level. But I sold it to them. They're the ones that bought it. And that thing has sat. Now I've seen just recently it's now pending. But they bought it from me for $67,000, and they're selling. They had it listed for $120,900. So they're making almost $60,000 on it. Yeah.
Wow, that's
they did very little.
Good for them.
Work.
You made some money too. Now, it's funny. Whenever I first signed up for Flip the Freedom Academy, I was like the 35th person to sign up under Sean's Flip the Freedom Academy. And I think it was $97 a month back then. And I put it on a credit card. I didn't tell my wife either. And I don't know what it is about that. And then I wrote down a goal that I would make a $5,000 check within 30 days. And I did that. I made $3,500 the day on the 31st day. But now you had goals too, right? You wrote down.
Right. I was just going to say that was something too. That was one of the first things I think you had us do was the January letter. So I did my January letter and I put it away and I read that thing every day. So I contribute that to helping me too. Because one of the biggest things is, if these guys are going to do this, they have to get laser focused, decide what they want and go for it. But in my January letter, I had that, I'd do 6 deals this year by December of 2019. I'm already halfway there.
Yeah.
So, I was hoping to do one every other month. But I did one in February and I did 2 in May. So, that's not too bad, I didn't think.
You're starting to get some momentum too. It's
right.
Once we start understanding that, we get certainty and we're able to take more action and do more stuff. So let me ask you this. One of the questions one of the concerns I think that happens, especially with people that haven't done a deal yet. I mean, what advice would you give someone? Because a lot of times they're scared to even do the marketing. Maybe they've listened to videos or they've went through courses or they even doing some coaching, but they just haven't turned on the marketing or started really talking to sellers. What advice would you have?
You're going to make mistakes. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. The the biggest advice I can give you is do something. You know, just because you're going and taking coaching classes, that's not going to get it to you. You got to get out in the field. You got to be talking to people. You got to be doing some kind of marketing, whether it be mailing things. One of the things that I use that I learned through the program was the deal machine. Yeah. That's helped me greatly. So that's
Driving for Dollars app for those that don't know.
Right, Driving for Dollars app, yeah. But that's what I use is Deal Machine. I haven't used their new product yet, where it tracks where you went.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've got two or three calls. Actually made appointments with 2 or 3 or more just from people doing the Deal Machine app. You know, but the biggest thing is you got to don't be afraid to answer the phone either. That's a big thing of mine too, is, you know, somebody will call and it's like, oh my gosh, it's probably a property or maybe a property owner. So, but, and actually just for the record, I made my first deal. I didn't even have any bandit signs made up. And then when I told Brandon that I had my first deal, he says, you got to get a bandit sign on there. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? Because I didn't want to spend the $200-300 to get 50, 60 signs. So I actually went out to the local Lowe's and got a blank sign and went to Staples and got a couple markers and hand drew it up. I put it on the website, so it's on the Facebook site. But I hand drew it up and stuffed it in the front yard.
Just taking action. That's the one thing that I really encourage my students and employees and stuff is sometimes we get stuck. Fear stops us. Fear is real. I don't want to pretend that it's not, because it does. It's real and it does stop us from doing things. But fear, if we get over that or we take action, how is it? I mean, because like you said, you were taking action. You went and got a couple things to do your own bandit signs.
Right.
They're Driving for Dollars. You called people. How does fear diminish for you as you start doing more of that?
I'd have to say yes. And then, like I just recently had a setback, as I told you before we started. I had a deal that I had to back out of. And now the fear's back, and it's like, now I got to push through this. Because
fear is part of life. It's
right.
And even though we do that, I still get fearful of things. But it's a matter of just making ourselves do it.
Right. Yeah.
So tell me, I mean, you did what, about 34, almost 34,000 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
How is that changing your mindset now?
Well, it's changing our mindset because, well, now my wife's kind of on board with me. She's like I said, she's actually helping me find deals, and one thing that kind of disappoints me is she hasn't gone out with me to look at any of the houses. That's kind of a bummer, but you know, I kind of wish she'd do that sometime. But she realizes it can be done. Yeah. And as I said, you know, we're talking about purchasing a beach property. So
that's awesome. They go from a skeptic to a believer.
Yes.
Right. And then an encourager too.
Yes.
They know that you can do it now. And even whenever, what I love, my wife too, is, you know, we may get down in the dumps about something, but then they support us and encourage us. And then we're like, okay, we're back in the game. We're doing it again.
Right.
Now, what would you say to the people that haven't committed to getting coaching or jumping in the deep end and just taking the plunge and starting to do it?
Well, it helped me. Excuse me a minute. It helped me tremendously. The coaching did help me with my fear. You know, being on the call with the other people and realizing that they got the same fear as I had, and that they were still trying to make it just as much as I was. So that's kind of where the coaching is, especially in the group coaching, like you're doing with the First Check Challenge. I found that to be more helpful. I never really did any coaching before this. I never really did any one-on-one coaching or any kind of coaching. But it has gotten me through and gotten me pushed, got me $35,000 more in my pocket, in my checking account.
That's awesome. So, that's huge.
It is.
There's a lot of little things that they say money money's not the solution, but I tell you what, money does help whenever we're living paycheck to paycheck or month to month.
Well, and that's exactly how we were. And right now this week we were living paycheck to paycheck, and like normally before I would have done all these deals, normally if we had $20 in the checking account, we'd be happy. We still have, my wife got paid last Friday. I get paid this Friday, and right now today we still have $500 in the checking account. Nice. And that's abnormal for us. That's abnormal.
Is now for you is to start scaling. Is not
right.
Your first check. You got 2 more checks. You know that it can happen. So now I want to get with you offline too and see what we can do to start making this a consistent thing, doing 2, 3, 4 deals every single month.
Right.
And then stacking enough cash in the bank where you have a whole year's income.
Right.
You and your wife. So you have options. You can decide to do what you want to do at that point.
Yeah. And that's where I'd like to go. That's my ultimate end goal. I want to get to some point where I can quit my job. My wife gets anxious when I tell her I want to do some buy and holds. Because I had some buy and holds before we got married and I got in trouble. I was a little bit of a too nice guy. Tenants would say, "Hey, I don't have my money this week. Can I pay you next week?" And I've learned that I could have said, "Yeah, you could pay me next week." But we're starting foreclosure stuff today. And when I had the 4 unit, I didn't know that I could do that. Now I know that I could do that and we can cancel it later. But now I know, I was young and dumb. That's what I contribute that to.
Yeah, no, I think that's cool. So let me ask you this. So now you've been through the coaching, you've got a couple checks cashed. Going back to before you secretly signed up for coaching without your wife, what would you tell yourself now if you have to rewind a few months?
I probably would tell myself the same thing, not knowing that I was going to get a check. I'd probably be skeptical and say, should I really do this? But it's one of those things. Now I know that I'm going to get a check. How should I say this? One of the things that I learned from you, from watching Sean Terry, get laser focused. Be focused and commit to doing this before, that's what I would have did before the coaching is. I would have got focused on the coaching and I would have did it. To be quite frank, Brandon, during the coaching calls, I wasn't doing everything every week that I should have done. I was sending letters out, but instead of I maybe sent 100 letters out, I probably should have been sending 500 letters out or even 1,000. So that's, and I guess you could say I'm a penny pincher because I got my list came free from the courthouse records. I did everything I could to save a buck, and that's something else that I probably could have been a little bit, money was tight. Ain't no lie, it was tight. So I did what I could to pinch a penny.
But I like how you were resourceful.
Right. Well, and that's the other thing, one thing I found on my phone is there's hundreds of resources on the phone. And when I get down, I found that I used to be a big Tony Robbins fan, still am.
Yeah.
Okay. But I started listening to, during the coaching calls, I got down a little bit and I started listening to Tony Robbins. Through Tony Robbins, I found Les Brown.
Yeah.
John Rowe. Yeah. And when I was down, and to this day, I still listen to those guys on the way to work, on the way home. If I'm here at the house and I don't have nothing else to do and, I need some motivation, I'll pull out my phone, go to YouTube, and pull them guys up and just listen.
You're filling the mind with the good stuff.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
That's great. Well, let me ask you now one question here for you is, what is it that you think we can do to improve the coaching program?
That's a good question. I think the biggest thing is, let's see, what would the biggest thing be? Everybody's got to realize that you got to do the marketing and you got to get out there, make the calls. I called everybody on Craigslist. I'd be calling sellers on Craigslist. I'd be calling the We Buy Houses on Craigslist. Get into your county courthouse, whether even if you just get into your county courthouse through the website, get into the recorder of deeds site, get into your sheriff's department site, look for the sheriff's sales. The sheriff sales are the ones you want to send your letters out to. I hand wrote probably 150 yellow letters the first time I sent stuff out. I had a guy from Hazleton contact me the other day through Facebook, and he's actually on the Flip to Freedom Academy Facebook site. And his comment to me was, well, the title companies up here are telling me it can't be done in the state of Pennsylvania. I said, well, it's funny because I just did a double closing here in the state of Pennsylvania, and that title company had no problem with it. So I actually gave him the name of a title company close to him that I had gotten from a house that we had listed up in his area. And I said, contact these guys. These guys will help you out. And then I also gave him a list of, I passed on a list of vacant houses to him. And he's starting the exact same way I am. He's handwriting the letters. And he says, man, do I have to handwrite these letters? I said, look, you don't have to handwrite them, but the thing is, I don't know what resources you have, but you don't have to have a computer. You don't have to have a printer. You can handwrite these letters, but you got to get them out to the people. If you're not doing any marketing, you're never going to get that check.
I'm having flashbacks as you're saying that. Sitting with Sean at Panera Bread in Phoenix, when he just barely started his podcast. I don't think he was really the guru he is now, right? And so just a couple of us sitting around, and I remember him saying, you got to just write the letters.
Yeah.
You gotta write the letters. Yeah. I remember taking the yellow pad of paper, and I would take a white sheet of paper, and I would handwrite the information with the yellow pad traced underneath it. And then I went and made copies on the so it looked like it was handwritten. And so I thought I was a brilliant genius by being able to figure out that one little trick. And
right.
Then, I just did 50 letters in like a couple minutes. So.
Yeah, well, I've learned to, there's fonts in Microsoft Word that look like they're handwritten. I've learned to use those. I've learned to merge mail and a bunch of that other stuff too.
And there's there's companies that will do all this for pretty much our cost.
Right. No. Right. But like I said, I was pinching pennies, and if you're if these guys are pinching pennies to get started, you can get started without going to these big companies and having them send the mail for you. But you still got to, spend the money on postage. You still got my first letters. I went to Staples, bought a pack of the yellow tablets and red pens. Yep. That's how I started.
Exactly.
The other thing that I did was,
I have some in my cabinet right now.
But the other thing that I did, and actually, if you want the yellow letter paper, I have I was able to find the tablet paper that you can put in the printers on Amazon. So I now buy the yellow letters, the regular paper, and I throw it in the printer, and it comes out on the yellow paper, and it's in red writing, just like Sean suggests. So I don't know I haven't done my own studies. I'm just taking the studies off of him and making it yellow with red writing. But the other thing that I was going to say is, Brandon, when you and I were in coaching it was for the month of December. It was very busy. We just broke through Thanksgiving, and we had Christmas and then New Year's that we all broke through there. And it was very busy, very hard to keep up. But here's what I did. After Christmas, I went down to the local Kmart, and I was able to purchase old Christmas cards.
Oh, I love it.
I purchased the old Christmas cards, took the cards, threw the cards away, and I used the envelopes so that when the people got it, it looked like it was a late Christmas card greeting. So I figured they got it open because I got phone calls.
I love
That's
that.
what I did.
Brilliant.
Now I buy the greeting card envelopes off of eBay, and I just bought 500 of them. So, you know, I mean, that's kind of how I've escalated here.
Yeah. And now one of the things that we always talk about is whenever you start making the money, you know, you need to pay your bills. I think you always need to have a celebrate. You need to celebrate the win somehow, whether it's going out to dinner or paying for a trip or doing something, but nothing too crazy, right?
Right.
Then 15 to 25%, at least 15% back into marketing.
Right. Yeah.
It's like seed money. You want to save some of your harvest to plant for the next season.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but that's just it. I mean, if you're, you know, a lot of these, I mentioned Tony Robbins, John Rowe, and Les Brown. They also talk about, you know, basically farming. You know, if you don't put the seed in the ground, you're not going to get a crop in the fall. You know, and that's exactly it here. If you don't put the mailers out, if you're not out talking to people, you're not going to get any harvest. You're not going to get that first check. So
I agree 100%. This is, you're speaking my language. I love it. So I appreciate you jumping on the call on this, and feel free to reach out to me with anything that you need. Remember, Sean's having his live event in October, and you're invited to that. You got free admission for that too. So.
Oh, I got free admission to the live event?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Reach out to Chelsea, and she'll be able to get you tickets too.
Okay. All right. Do I get the VIP ticket?
I don't know. You'll be my VIP. I'll sit with you. So no, that's awesome. He's anyone that's went through the coaching gets tickets to the event. So.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay, cool. All right. That gives me another reason to go, because I was just thinking about that. I was looking into that the other day, and didn't realize it was going to be so expensive. And, you know, because the wife, I'll tell you another story. Okay. So right after I got my first, check, I didn't buy any bandit signs prior to me getting my first check. Okay. The only bandit signs I bought 2 of them at Lowe's, one in case I messed up. Okay. So I got 50 bandit signs, cost me $300 with stakes and stuff, cost me over $300. So one day my wife, after they came, like 2 days after they came in the mail, she looks at me and she says, "You spent $300 on those signs?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I spent $300, but I made $8,000. She turned and walked away from me, never said a word about the signs again. So, you know, I mean, it's, you know, so that's the kind of thing.
I'll tell you this, if your wife's like my wife, just make sure that you can have them coming in. Coming in and they'll just smile and be happy.
Yeah. So, you know, when I say it's a lot of money, you know, the admission fee for the, she'd faint if she knew what the admission fee for the, for Sean's freedom thing coming up here in October would be. But, you know, because she was upset with $300. But,
well, what do you get at the end? It's just like investing, and you invested in your education. People pay for college, right? How much?
Well, and how
much money do people pay for college?
Yeah, before, here again, let's rewind again. Before I signed up for first check challenge, my wife said, "We need to go back to college." And I said, "Well, at my age, I'm not going back to college." I said, there'd be no return on my investment. So I would get out of college, because I never really took college prep classes or anything like that. So my return on investment would not be there for me to go back to college. And I've often told her I can go and do things in real estate and make more money there than what I would if I had a college degree.
Yeah.
So she is now going to college at home online here. While she was going to college online here, I was beating the street and made $35,000, and she's still hitting the computer every night.
Yeah.
And stuff. So
how much is the semester, or how many classes is she taking?
I want to say it's 3 or 4. She already has an associate's degree, so she's going for her bachelor's degree, I guess it is.
Yeah. What's tuition out there cost?
Well, fortunately, she works for one of the local hospitals here, so they're paying. She's got a free ride. But tuition's usually like $40,000 a semester or something like that.
It would normally be $40,000 a semester.
I say $40,000 a semester. I know, like local college here, you go for, I say semester, maybe it's a year, but it would be $40,000 for the year or whatever. You know.
So 20 grand, say 20 grand a semester, and the first check challenge was a little bit cheaper than that. So.
Yeah, a lot cheaper than that. A lot cheaper than that.
And
I paid.
You already got your money back. And
I was going to say I just paid my first check challenge many times over.
That's right. There you go. Well, thanks for jumping on the call, and feel free to reach out for anything.
Okay.
And I appreciate you doing this video call and this testimonial. I'll get it edited and I'll be able to use it. I appreciate it. And the biggest thing I think really, Terry, was what I asked was, the people that, what do you say to the people that they're afraid, they're not taking enough action? That's my biggest thing right now. My biggest struggle. I'm trying to get in the psychology of that, of how to encourage, persuade.
Right.
I can't force anyone.
Yes.
I know that there's benefits if they do that. I know that they can get their reimbursed on their efforts, but I get them to take that step. So. Well,
and I kind of look to the Facebook page too for encouragement and stuff too. There's sometimes where I look on there and it's like, man, nobody else is posting on here. I wish somebody, everybody would post on here.
We have the Voxer channel open, and most of the communication goes on that. I've been thinking about pushing all the communication on the Facebook. And
okay.
Everyone's like, all in Voxer, and I may just use that more of an announcement instead of a, because I think everyone goes there and not on Facebook. But I think it'd be good for everyone else.
Right, and that's why.
And then they can all chime in.
Yeah, and that's why I've posted some of the things that I posted on there. I figured it would be beneficial for everybody to see. Some of the Tony Robbins things I did post on there. I think there was like 1 or 2 of them on there.
Yeah,
but just to keep the guys motivated. Like I said, nice.
Have you read the book The Go Giver yet?
Go Giver? No, I have not.
Okay. Do you have like an audio book membership, like Audible or Kindle or anything like that?
No, I don't have that. No.
Okay. I'm gonna hook you up with Audible. Do you have an iPhone or?
I have an iPhone. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, do you have an Amazon account?
I do. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'll give you Audible, but one of the first ones you want to do is called The Go Giver. I think I can send it to you for free.
Okay. All right.
I'll send it over to you, and it's one that I think it's changed my perspective tremendously.
Yeah.
It's just about like as you're doing stuff like on the Facebook group, you're trying to figure out ways to help people and serve people. There's reciprocity.
Right.
It comes back to you.
And that's one of the things that when I got my first check, both her mom and my mom were struggling.
Mm-hmm.
So, granted, when you compare what I did to what I got, it wasn't huge, but to them, it was huge. But my mom and her mom were both struggling. So we gave them $500.
Oh, wow.
When I got my second check, she has 2 sisters. We gave each one of them $500.
What did that make? What did that do for them?
What did that do for them? My mother-in-law looked at the $5 $100 bills, and they were the brand new ones, the ones with the colored strip on. She says, these aren't real, and she was ready to throw them in the trash. And it's like, no, these are real, and these, this is yours. We don't, you help us out, and this is us trying to help you out and give back. So yeah.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that, because it's we get a certain amount of wealth, right? It doesn't matter, but that $500 probably meant more than anything else,
Right. And we gave it to them, no strings attached.
Yeah.
Do with it as you want. Yeah. So it was up to them how they did with it.
How big?
I don't know what one.
How long did it take for them to wipe the smile off their face afterwards?
Yeah, they still have a smile on their face. So, but I don't know what any one of them did with it. I gave it, we gave it to them and left them at that. So what they did with it, they did with it.
You're just blessing them, and you're going to be able to do that more and more as this stuff.
Right.
Stay like you said, stay laser focused.
Yes.
Keep doing the marketing and keep talking to people and making offers, and it'll start exponentially getting better. And you'll be able to do more of that. And it wasn't that a good feeling? Did that make you feel good, giving that away?
Oh, it was great. Yeah, it was great.
That's what it's about, man. That's what it's about. It's nice to have a couple of nice things, but whenever you're able to start blessing others, that's where the enrichment and the real wealth is. So,
right.
Well, thanks for sharing that, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for being on the call.
Yep, no problem.
Holler at me anytime, Terry, okay?
All right, buddy. See you.
Hope to see you in October.
Yeah, yep. I'm going to make it a bigger point now that I know I got free admission.
Yeah.
Get out there.
All right. See ya.
All right, sounds good. Yep, bye-bye.